welcome back to yet another episode of Patkai Buzz. I'm your host Kasintep, and we have a very special guest here with us today. She is none other than Prarthana Pawale, Project Coordinator NITI Aayog and BYJU Social Initiative. She has worked in the areas of women and children health, gender advocacy, drug abuse, and qualitative education for marginalized children. In today's conversation with Pawale, we will be delving on the functions and focus areas of NITI Aayog. At present, she is posted in Kiphire and works with NITI Aayog and BYJUs to initiate the step quality education for class 11 and 12 science students by giving access to quality EdTech material for NEET and GEE preparation. So, without further ado, let's all welcome our guest. Hello ma'am, thank you so much for joining us today.
Hi, thank you so much for inviting me.
Welcome. To start with this show, I would like to ask you the first question. My first question for you is, NITI Aayog is referred to as a public policy think tank of the government of India. Could you please elaborate on that?
Yeah, sure. So NITI Aayog is responsible for now the formulating policies, and also it is also responsible for doing research and development on various sectors such as infrastructure, water, sanitation issues, education and nutrition. So these are the sectors which NITI Aayog looks at. So it adds on to the policy. So there are 3-year plans implemented by NITI Aayog. So before NITI Aayog came in, since independence, we had planning commissions. So we had 5 years plan. So in each 5 years plan, there were certain objectives and goals set up. Like under economic achievement, economic policies, what we want to achieve, how much GDP we are expecting, how much industrial growth we are expecting, and maternal, child health, women, maybe micro enterprises growth, everything was there in the 5 years plan. The only difference is the 5-year plan was created by central government along with the state government, but state government only acted as a spectator. But most of the the main formulation part was done by central government and its advisories. But when NITI Aayog came into the picture, so with the help of state government, local government administration and all the stakeholders, so they are a think tank. What's the meaning of think tank? Think tank is when you serve as a resource to anybody, or when you are examining the current policies and suggesting your thoughts or process on it. So that's what NITI Aayog has been doing since 2015.
This is something which actually I'm not familiar with, honestly, and so this is a kind of answer which all the public and people as a whole also should know about it. And my next question for you is, one of the objectives of NITI Aayog is to construct methods to formulate a reliable strategy at village level. Could you kindly educate us on this bottom-up approach of NITI Aayog?
Yeah, sure. So under the NITI Aayog, the main flagship program is Aspirational District program, which has been running since 2018 under 112 recognized districts in India. So under this program, we have targeted remotest regions of India. For example, Kiphire. Kiphire is one of the remotest regions in India, very close to Myanmar. And to that, we can say in Bihar also there are many districts like Jamui, which are very remotest and very isolated. So in such villages, I would like to give example of district known as Chandauli. So in Chandauli, more rice cultivation is produced. So they cultivate this black rice, which is very much local. So when the villagers were keen in this cultivating black rice, so the local stakeholders, like the local civil society organizations, they identified that this black rice can be in too much demand for the international countries. So this black rice was exported to Oman, Kuwait, and even like New Zealand and Australia. So imagine a very in terms of HDI indicators, bit low, has been doing very great because we identified the local strength of the farmers, that was of cultivating rice, which is now being exported to the foreign countries, thus generating the local income. So this can be seen as the bottom-up approach, where you are actually trying to recognize the need of the people and what they are good at, and then using it for the economic growth. Similarly, one of the remotest district, which is also Aspiration District, is Namsai, Arunachal Pradesh. So Namsai had a different project, so they wanted to concentrate on learning outcomes in education. So they came up with this concept of Prabhari. So it's an officer appointed in each school, and they had a separate app to track this. So they tracked the performance of students, learning outcomes through this Prabhari officer to increase the learning outcome of students in Namsai.
Thank you for giving insights on different aspirational districts. Moving on to the next question. As NITI Aayog accords due importance to the aspirational districts in India, what are some of the policies and programs in place in Kiphire district, which is the aspirational district of Nagaland?
Sure, yeah. So Kiphire, I have been in Kiphire since May 2022, so like 5-6 months up until now. So in Kiphire, the project which I am working on, I would like to speak about that because it also comes under NITI Aayog. So I have been working under the educational vertical of NITI Aayog with collaboration of BYJUs. So we have this Career Plus program. So under Career Plus program, we are trying to give as much as quality education to 11th and 12th standard students, for maybe to promote the science initiative, like for example the NEET and the JEE aspirants. Because if you see the Nagaland education policies or the Nagaland take on the science and technology, so even today there is a lot to do in this field, that I very much agree that Nagaland is very much rich in art, culture and music, but we have a long way forward towards the science and technology. Like for example, we are yet to set up a medical college in Nagaland, which we still do not have. And I believe the first step is to build that interest in students, that they can take up science, and if they're interested, of course, so that there should be no barrier. There should be no barrier of resources, that due to lack of resources they could not opt science. So under this program, the meritorious students have been selected and they have been given free coaching with Akash and BYJU's live. So we have given them all the technological materials like tablets, access to free materials, and also the content, offline book content. So they can actually prepare for entire 2 years for this rigorous examinations.
So ma'am, is the coaching done online or offline?
Yeah, so it's a hybrid model. So it will be offline also, online also, where the Akash teachers will be coming to the district and actually teaching them. And most of it is an online model where each day there are live classes conducted. So it just started last month. I would say it was really challenging process because when I went, Kiphire did not have a science stream. So there was entire question on implementation of the program because this program was meant for Kiphire. So now we have a center in Kohima for the students of Kiphire, and we have began the program on 24th September after so much of hassle, but finally we have done it. And while my stay in Kiphire, commenting on the other policies, so I think there has been a lot of work going on sanitation also, like under the wash aspect in schools. For example, Kiphire is rich in some blocks of Kiphire. Like there is a village in Kiphire known as Sanfor. So in Sanfor is rich in salt pan cultivation, salt cultivation. It has the salt pans, and this salt has been cultivated by villagers for many years, but it has not been commercialized for the larger use, and the salt is very organic in nature because there was not much technology available for the proper filtration and packaging. So now there's also a proposal where the salt pans can be made utilized so that local can be given opportunities on this salt production.
That's so nice.
Yeah, similarly there are like silkworms, like you can produce maybe silk cloth or like silk handlooms if you have a proper handloom machine. So that's also under the process to give opportunities to women. And also there has been one of the women organization in Kiphire which works with this women artisans. So they make this local attire of samtams, which is known as mekla. So this Kiphire women during pandemic, they were singing and making these meklas. So again, and also jewelry, so that it can be also one of the aspect to what to say to empower women to make them self-reliant. And yeah, so I'm talking about some of the village level policies. So there have been district level meetings happening frequently, now village level meeting happening frequently, and also where Mahila Sabha has been also conducted for the first time in Kiphire, where all women come together and talk about the issues. And various organizations have been coming in Kiphire and working due to the recognition of status of Aspirational District. So like the Women Helpline number on domestic violence issues. So many organizations have been coming apart from the program and policies from government because of this Aspirational District recognition given. Yeah.
Yeah, that is like so grateful that new policies are coming up in Nagaland and also especially helping women. Talking about silkworm, there's a story of in my village, my auntie used to sell silkworm.
Yeah.
So there's like, whenever she takes out the silkworm from the cotton, the cocoon, she used to sell it to the people, the owner, and they'll give you money. And so there's also some kind of business, like both you're selling both the silkworm and also the cotton. Yeah, there is also.
That's interesting.
Okay,
I've seen silkworms in the market, but not cocoons.
Okay. And also, my next question for you is there any other districts of Nagaland that comes under the purview of NITI Aayog?
Right now it's only Kiphire,
Okay.
due to the Human Development Index indicators, so HDIs. So on the specific parameters of maybe how are the water resource, the infrastructure, the maybe what is the skill development opportunities there, and the education and the nutrition. So these are the parameters which NITI Aayog focuses on. So anywhere where these parameters are extremely low and falls under HDI, like if there is maybe the per capita income of the people are low, like it's low and it falls below poverty line, so that district has been recognized as aspirational district. And also some districts are aspirational if they have potential to grow. So Kiphire being has a lot of potential to grow further, so it has been recognized as aspiration district, at least for now in Nagaland. Yeah.
My next question for you is, as you have also worked with FMCH, Foundation of Mother and Child Health India, would you like to share your experience working under the spectrum of health and nutrition with us?
Sure. So FMCH, working with FMCH is very close to my heart because I was just 17 when I first worked with FMCH. So this was my first internship when I enrolled in College of Social Work with Mumbai University. And so Foundation of Mother and Child Health India is basically an, I think, Indonesian organization, and it has its branches. So in India it was in the slums of Mumbai, because Mumbai has a lot of slums, like it has huge disparity between rich and poor, and like 50% of the Mumbai slum population, like I'm talking about children, are malnourished due to the lack of proper nutrition at the early age of the child. So when I started working in FMCH, so my first task was only to observe all the sessions and just do a community visit to understand the community. The first time I did my community visit, I had fever because I couldn't go through the narrow lanes of the slum because it was so dark. There was no light, there was no ventilation. So these were the issues. So my work, stressing on my work, so then later I gave sessions to pregnant women I conducted sessions. Thank you. So it was sometimes I used to feel like, oh, I'm just 17 and giving sessions to pregnant women.
Very young age.
Yeah. So, but then it was really great experience because we talked about first 1,000 days of the child. First 1,000 days meaning since the child is born until the child turns 2 years old. So it's first 1,000 days. So in the first 1,000 days, how the nutrition is extremely important for the growth of the child, because the 50% of the brain development happens in the mother's womb. So we used to focus on not only postnatal but also when the mothers were pregnant, prenatal. So we used to distribute the iron tablets, folic acid tablets. We used to also have a nutrition classes by our field officers where they used to teach them how to make nutritional chikkis, which has this ragi content like iron content, the local food like the poha. So we used to actually demonstrate which is easy, simpler recipe for mothers, and they used to actually make those recipes which are useful. And also there were frequent pediatricians visit volunteering with, from the good renowned hospitals who used to volunteer to come to the clinic centers, the nutritionists, and they used to have one-to-one checkup with the mothers and the newborn child. Also, I remember there was this class for babies known as Acha Bachcha, means good babies.
Plus, this starts from
babies.
Okay,
Yeah.
for babies.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it was like 6-7 months babies, 6 to 2 years old babies. So all the babies used to gather together with their mothers, and the field officer used to demonstrate the mothers what is the right part to massage the baby. Then if the child is below 3 months, then only black and white posters needs to be shared because they can just see black and white color. And if it's above, so then different pictorial representations where child can actually interact. And also various posters if a child is crying. And also we stressed about exclusive breastfeeding for the first 6 months. So only breast milk should be given, not the water or any other thing, because that's only source of nutrition. And we also performed various street plays across Mumbai. And also there were various classes on breastfeeding also, because that's also an important challenge for motherhood. So there were so many steps and the process I got to know. I started with observation and ended with conducting classes with pregnant women. Yeah.
That's so nice, man. I would say at a very young age, there was indeed a very long journey of you, and it must be a real proud moment for you that you're working for a woman at a very young age, also for the child and for the society.
Thank you so much. Very true. Starting it was very difficult to go in slums and all, but at the end I felt so content, doing something which is actually benefiting so many of mothers and then their happiness, after the session. So the feedback really mattered. So yeah.
Okay, so moving on to the next question. What are some of the major challenges you faced working in the social and development sector in Northeast?
Yeah. So per se, I would comment about Kiphire because Kiphire is my first Northeastern district, even though I have been to few parts of Northeast. So as you know, Kiphire is a very remotest region. I just stress it because even reaching there is a hassle. So Kiphire is just 300 kilometers from Dimapur and it's 250 from Kohima, the capital. But reaching there takes almost 14 hours if the vehicle is fine, or more than that hours, like 15 to 16 hours. Whereas if you calculate the same distance in planes, it would just take hardly 5 hours. So you can see the traveling time. So when I first came to Kiphire, the transportation was a big challenge. In fact, my even father had come to drop me, and he was also very startled seeing the road conditions where there are no roads at all. So I feel in Kiphire the road infrastructure is a major challenge, and that needs to be addressed. Also, I agree due to the rainfalls, landslides, it's difficult on mountainous regions to get the road repairs, but that can be done. And apart from that, Kiphire has a different culture altogether. Because I come from Maharashtra, and Kiphire is very remotest belt, I would say even though culture is different, many of them told me maybe adjusting to the culture and the food habits would be difficult. but due to the people's openness to accept the other outsiders, that really made me overwhelmed. So only traveling for me is a challenge, and sometimes living in isolation. So in Kiphire, everything gets closed by 5 to 4, living in isolation, and self-motivating and being accountable by your own is very much challenging, because I have always worked in a closed work setup. This is very independent, where you have to explore new things, you have to talk to people, you have to create your own project. That's very challenging. There are some days where there is no running water. There is no running water to the dam. Maybe there is no proper waste management, because we are living in a very different area. So these issues, I think, needs to be addressed. But yeah, I say one step at a time. That keeps me going. Yeah.
So ma'am, my last question for you is, did you have any preconceived notion before coming to Kiphire district? What would be the suggestions to the government for development?
Yeah, that's a very interesting question. So I didn't have preconceived notions, but my family, friends, colleagues around had a lot of preconceived notions about Nagaland due to the certain conceptions which the media has, or media shows actually, about the northeast states. So when I came, I would say that there were not any notions about the people. People were extremely adapting and welcoming, and they helped a lot. And I made really good friends. Even now, we are really good friends. That would be never possible if I had not come to Kiphire. And in terms of commenting on the policies, so there are many policies which are actually made, but I think there should be a frequent visit to aspirational districts in Northeast, because a person sitting in Delhi or a person sitting in Mumbai cannot make policies which are friendly in the remotest region, because they don't know the challenges which the remotest region might face. So to keep up with such policies, you need resources around. Sitting in the mountainous region, being updated to this new banking policies is not so easily possible, because there are a lot of infrastructure connectivity issues, so which is not friendly for the mountainous region.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Your suggestion on policy formulation implementation is indeed the need of the hour.
Thank you so much for inviting me, and it's my pleasure, and I'm highly obliged to come here and share my experiences up until now. And yeah, thank you so much.
Well, that was a very engaging talk. I believe that all our viewers had something to take away from today's session. With this, we have come to the end of the talk show. Stay tuned for more updates.